Hey guys, it's Adrian Landscapians. It's my good buddy Zach. We're going to be going over the Hunter sprinkler controller. This is the most common sprinkler controller in our neighborhood here in Bexley. And I'm going to be going a little fast because we both got kids to pick up, me and the person holding the camera. But we're going to get through this tutorial quick. The reason that we're filming it is because it's the most common and we want to partner with our homeowners and let them know how to use it in the event that we can't get out to their house right away. And so in the event of an emergency, we want you to know how to turn it off. We want you to know how to change the cycle, how to change how long they're running, and all of that good stuff. So let's hop right into it. You ready, Zach?
I'm ready.
All right. So where it's at right now, it's running on whatever cycle has been set on it. So the first thing that I want to know is what zones are running and for how long. To look at that, I come to the run times. And right there, you'll see a zone at the top left, and I can cycle through them. And it's telling me how long each zone is running for. This just now told me that there's 4 zones in this house. And when I slide this down, I can also confirm here that there's 4 zones wide. You see that?
Okay.
And you look at the number 4. So I now have confirmation that I'm looking for 4. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
So if you start looking for 5 and 6, you're going to be looking for a while. So I know 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all 15 minutes with the 4th one being 20 minutes. Maybe that's a drip line or a rotor because they should run longer than pop-up pins.
Okay.
So when I go here, it says A, that's the total cycle. So this whole thing, all those numbers, 15, 15, 15, and 20 equate to an hour and 25 minutes.
Okay.
That's good to know because when I come to the start time and I pick when this cycle should run, I need to know that it's going to run for an hour and 25. So this cycle specifically is going to run from 3 a.m. until 4:25 a.m.
Okay.
And I know that by going through the run times right there. Excuse my voice. We've still been cheering my daughters on through 10 basketball games this last weekend. So bear with me because we got to get this information to our guys. We're really filming this for our employees, but it's helpful to the community as well. So we're taking some time. So right now, this is at 3 a.m. I'm going to tell you in Bexley, we don't go that early. With sprinklers. You want to water just right before the sun comes up.
Why is that?
It's the process of feeding the grass. The water is for the grass, but through photosynthesis is how the grass drinks the water,
Right.
if that makes sense. Without the sun, photosynthesis doesn't happen and the water just pools on top. Eventually it molds and it introduces disease and different bugs.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So a lot of times I'm going to take this instead of 3 a.m. And we're in control of this yard. We manage this property. I'd rather this be at 4 a.m.
Okay.
I'm just pushing up an hour, 5:30. The water's got a little bit. I think I'm going to go to 4:30. Sometimes I can use Google to find out when the sunrise is at different times of the year, but I know right now it's April, about mid-April. So this is good. Now, really important here, there are 2 different start times, 3, 4. You can have 4 different start times of that same cycle.
Okay.
So that hour, 25 minutes can run at 4:30. And look what happens when I do this. That means it's going to run the whole cycle again at whatever time I put on this
Okay.
number 2. Our guys were making an error at some point because they thought this 1, 2, 3, 4 here at start times were the 4 zones. And they would sit there and try to strategically set one up at 4:30 and then 2 would be 4:15 and so forth and so on. And we'd get 4-hour running irrigation systems. And so, yeah, it's a lot of gallons of water. It's a big waste. This community runs on reclaimed water. So it's cheaper, but you still don't want to do that to the environment and it's not good for your grass. So those are the start times. You have some other obvious things here like the date and time. This is important and we always check this because this is now telling it when it's going to run. If this said 1 a.m., we're all over and everything we've done so far, we can't trust.
Right.
Because we can't see this. So this is a part of what's called the irrigation optimization and repair that we do when we take over a property. These 2 are obvious. That's going to run whatever's been stated here. How long it runs, what time it starts to run, and then we have the days that it runs. So we got all of that stuff, and some stuff's starting to run right now as we speak because when you turn these dials, some of it initiates the
So
zone.
it's like manual mode right now.
It's in manual mode, exactly. And so here it's telling me that water days. And so each one that doesn't have a circle with a slash through it, that cycle is going to run at that time for that long. So you see a lot of it's really simple, just with it. You're just inputting
Right.
data. And to turn on and off the days, if I want the Monday on, I'll hit the plus and you'll see it advance to Tuesday. If I want to come back, I'll hit the minus. Well, no, that doesn't bring me back. That cuts Tuesday off. I got to use the arrow to go back and say, I want Monday off, Tuesday on. You see, I'm hitting the plus and the
Right.
minus to dictate what's happening. We just installed new sock. So I want this to run every day, but I only want to do it for the one zone.
Gotcha.
They've got a wonderful thing called Program A and Program B, and that's controlled by this right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so Program B right now is off for good reason, because we only want one cycle for one time.
Right.
We can pick multiple start times and all this stuff. When there is, the purpose of this is actually for us. We'll use Program B because we have one zone that has new sod. We want that to run every day for a week at specific
Right.
times, but we don't want the entire system to run.
So on program A, you can have everything running at 4 o'clock, but then program B, you can have just the sod running every single day.
And on Program A, you'd want to turn off the sod zone.
Right.
So the whole purpose of the program, we don't use them often
Mm-hmm.
because the whole purpose of the program is to not have to come back in and change anything. But in that scenario I just mentioned, you have to go back to Program A and turn that one zone that you cut off back on. And then you have to cancel Program B. So within all of that, it's like you might as well just done customize Program A, because you can do that, and then leave B alone. So we usually leave it alone, but you can play around with it in your home if there's specific things you're trying to accomplish. Sometimes there will be a privacy shrub with a viburnum clusia shrub that they're trying to grow large quickly. And so they might have a different program to water it every day or water it periodically throughout the day with multiple start times. And they'll see faster growth with those shrubs and quicker privacy. So you can see understanding this brings you a lot of different options with your system. Now, testing it, which is critical because you should be doing annual maintenance on your irrigation system. I repeat, you should be doing annual maintenance. That's taking off the head of each. Some of them have 30 to 50 sprinkler heads.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is if you don't do this thoroughly, then you don't know which one's going to be the problematic one. And the only indicator is going to be a slight amount of dead grass. That also could be disease, or it could be a pet trampling it, or it could be a million other things.
Right.
So people oftentimes don't find out that they have an irrigation problem until it's too late, and they're in for hundreds of dollars of new grass that they have to pay for. And so the best thing to do is hire us for annual maintenance of it. When you come on with our comprehensive landscape and maintenance plan, we do a project and we recommend irrigation optimization and repair as soon as you have an issue, because we'll look over the whole system. And when we do that, after we do that, we guarantee the whole system for the life of the maintenance with us.
Gotcha.
And so there's some other things on here where you can adjust the seasonal times. There's a solar sync, and that works with this right here, this little soil click. It's a device that's in the yard that's meant to measure how much rain and how much humidity is going on to then adjust the sprinkler system if you allow it to.
Well, before we move on, so on manual,
Okay.
I know on the Rainbird, it's individual for each zone. So zone 1 obviously is what's on right now. That's going to be one zone at a time. It's not all 4 going to come on, right?
Good question. So right now, as I stay in manual, I'm going to cycle through.
Okay.
And I can see if I send this, all of those are times that it's going to run.
Right.
If I switch this to run and you see this thing spraying, you're going to hear something go. I'm hearing the drip line from the front guard of it right now.
Right. So as like a homeowner, you would want to physically go out there, inspect it. So that's when you're doing your annual maintenance.
To answer your question though, if I don't touch this and I leave it alone, it's going to run through that cycle that we just saw on the manual.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were on manual, we saw everything that was happening. And then we hit run, it's going to run that as a manual cycle.
Okay.
So when you're here, if you're like, I just want to sprinkle my grass because of something I'm seeing,
right,
you would set this however long you wanted to do. You said, whatever I do here, it's going to do it, but just for this one cycle.
Right.
Because when I come back to the run times, they're all unaltered.
Preset.
They stayed where they were.
Right.
I have to come here to change my whole program.
Okay.
But I can do a manual run if I see fit. And that's where we need homeowners' help. If you see your grass is dry or kind of crispy, that's where you can literally come and say, I'm going to run a manual session, or text us and ask us. And we'll say, yeah, when we are at your yard each week, we're going to ask you to open your garage so that we can look at it and adjust it. I'm asking my guys to adjust our yards 4 times a year for optimal watering for the grass. That's going to make it the greenest. It's going to withhold against disease and things like that. And it's going to be the most lush grass that you can get. So real quick, yeah, I was talking about solar sync and seasonal adjust.
Right.
I honestly turn these things off, and that's where it is here. That's fine where it is. So that means it's not going to manipulate the system too much.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I even just remove them sometimes because I just don't want anything to do with it. When I built my home, an irrigation specialist, meaning that's all he did, said, you got to take this out.
Right.
The builder put it in, but in Florida, where we're at here in sunny Tampa Bay, it's no bueno. It's not going to work. It's going to just mess up your system and make it do all kinds of crazy things.
Gotcha.
So, and you can see, here it is, sensor bypass. So this is the sensor. It's feeding it so that it can do things with this seasonal adjustment and all that. I just cut that off on purpose.
Gotcha.
Now my team is going to come in here and adjust the different things. Reduces the pressure, and depending on where you're at and if it's your day or not, your specific home may spray a little less. And we get called frequently saying that there's an issue with the irrigation because people are testing it at a time that Paso County has stated it's not a good time to work your sprinklers. And so your sprinklers are going to work at the best times when we set them on your specific day based off the last number in your home. Okay. So we know this zone is working, but you'll see this side here behind you I'm most concerned with. And what I want my guys doing and taking complete control of when we take over a property, I want all of this looked after. So they did a lot of hard work to install this sod, and then they hand watered it and they're on to the next project.
Right.
What we just did in there with that sprinkler is how you take care of this when we leave the project. So I committed to that for our team. I'm going to get this thing soaking wet, but quick shout out to Gabby on the garden bed. It's pretty sweet. We love it.